Welcome back for part 2 of the media console build. In video 1, we did the glue up for the floating shelves and the main panels for the media center. In this video, we're going to go over the next steps for the floating shelves, and we're going to go ahead and put together the remainder of the media console. And at the end of this video, we're going to be putting together the wood slat panel. All right, so let's get into it. So after you've done your glue ups, we're going to remove all the tape, and we're just going to kind of scrape any of the excess glue off. After that, I'm using this wood putty right here. We're going to just fill up any cracks or crevices that might need a little extra. We'll let that dry out for a couple of hours, and then it'll be ready to sand. These are the main panels we glued up for the media console. At times like this, I really wish I had a drum sander to just run this through, but we're doing this with a belt sander and an orbital sander. It's not very efficient, but it's all we got, so we're going to make it work. I used the belt sander to get the joint as smooth as I could, and then we're coming back with the orbital sander here. Started off with some 80 grit to help get it a little bit smoother, and just hitting it with some wood putty if there's any indentions or cracks that we're trying to fill. After the 80 grit, we're hitting it with some 120 to try to polish it up a little bit. In this video clip, I'm showing you a little gap right here. Even during the glue up process, the wood still ended up bowing just slightly. So I'm taking these clamps to get this as level and flat as I can before I do my 45-degree miter on the end. If you try to rip that miter on a board that's a little bit bowed, it is not going to line up. It's going to be bad news. So we got the main panels ready to go. So right now we're doing the glue up for this big console. Trying to get these to line up using tape, wood glue, and a couple of trim nails. There's still a very slight bow in the materials, so we got a clamp right here to just get that set right. When I'm doing these miters, whether it be something like this or floating shelves, I like to be pretty generous with the glue. If there ends up being a lot of squeeze out or anything like that, you can scrape it off, sand it off, it's no big deal. I'd rather have a little bit too much glue than not enough. So we cut 2 back panels for this console. We're putting in some pocket screws, and this is going to be for structural strength and keeping this thing nice and square. And being that these panels are on the back side, you're never going to see these anyways. So the next 2 panels that we cut are going to be the dividers for inside the media console. I considered using trim nails and glue alone, but I opted to do pocket holes because I felt like I was just going to be a little bit stronger. So this piece right here we cut as a cleat for this unit. We're going to actually be hanging this on the wall, so this will just make it a lot easier for when we go to do the install. Now this whole unit is going to be painted, but the pocket holes that we did on the dividers here, we're going to go ahead and fill these with some pocket hole plugs. And once we get those in, we're going to sand those down, putty them up, and you're never going to see them. They also requested an adjustable shelf for the center part, and that's why we're putting these shelf pin holes in here. Just as we did with the floating shelves, we tore our tape off, and now we're going to go ahead and use a little wood putty to fill in any cracks or crevices that are needed. In the first video, we did the 3 individual white oak panels. Now the last one we got to do is this wood slat panel right here. This panel here, we did edge banding around it. It is the maple plywood, and we are using 1 by 1.5 inch soft maple for the slats. I'm using 1 piece of material to use as the divider, so we got about 3/4 inch gaps. And then if you notice in the video, I'm actually lining these pieces up with the edge of the table as a guide, and then I'm shooting my nails in from the backside. As we wrap this video up, I want to thank y'all as always for watching. Check out part 3, it'll be up next. Y'all are going to love how this turned out.